We have some breaking news for you out of New York. A U.S. judge has denied Sean Diddy Combs bail after a jury convicted him today on prostitution-related offenses.
Alright, we need to talk about Sean Combs, the man you might know as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or just the guy behind half the hip-hop classics in your playlist. But this isn't about platinum plaques or yachts. This is about what the headlines aren't telling you about allegations of grooming, lawsuits, disturbing lawsuits, and a federal investigation that could bring everything crashing down. Let's unpack the rise and unraveling of one of music's most powerful and controversial moguls. This is the dark truth about P. Diddy. Welcome back to Filter DK, and let's get into the video. Sean Combs was born on November 4, 1969 at Harlem Hospital. While Harlem was known for its rich black culture and jazz scene, it was also plagued by crime, poverty, and heroin by the early 1970s. Sean's father, Melvin Earl Combs, was a man with dangerous ties. A military veteran from Virginia turned Harlem street operator. Melvin allegedly worked under Frank Lucas, one of the most notorious heroin dealers in American history. On January 26, 1972, Melvin was shot dead in his car while parked on Central Park West, leaving behind Janice Combs, his 2-year-old son, Sean, and daughter Keisha. The trauma shook Janice to her core. Fearing for children's safety in Harlem, she moved the family to Mount Vernon, a quiet town just outside the Bronx. There she worked multiple jobs as a model and a teacher's assistant to give Sean and Keisha a chance at a better life. Even as a child, Sean showed signs of obsession with success. He delivered newspapers, cleaned bathrooms, and danced at block parties, anything to hustle a few bucks. He later said his dad's death made him realize life could end at any moment and that he would need to go get it before it was taken from him. That ambition followed him to Harvard University, but he dropped out in his sophomore year to intern at Uptown Records in New York. And that's where everything started. Sean's ear for talent was undeniable. By 1993, he launched Bad Boy Records, signing a young Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G. He would later sign Faith Evans, Maze, 112, and Total. To the public, he was the kingmaker, but behind the scenes, a pattern of control and manipulation had already started forming. From making the band contestants being humiliated on TV to artists like Maze alleging missing royalties and being paid under just $20,000, Diddy's empire had a dark underbelly.
Yeah, what you know about going out? Head west, red legs, TVs, all up in the headrest. Try and live it up, rock jewel, bigger truck, piece all glittered up. Stick a kid, nigga, what? Jig with a cut, sip Chris, spit it up.
Who the fuck is this? Should be a 5:46 in the morning. Crack a dawn, now I'm yawning. Wipe the cold out my eye. See who's this.
Then came Casey Ventura, a teenage singer who signed to Bad Boy in the early 2000s. The world saw a love story. She would later describe years of grooming, coercion, and abuse.
When me and my girl are out on a Friday night and we want to have a good time, we drink Blue Dot Syrah. Ain't that right, baby? Cheers. Mother.
In November 2003, Casey Ventura filed a civil lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of rape, sex trafficking, drugging, and violent abuse, beginning when she was just 19. He described a world of forced sex acts, luxury trips that turned into nightmares, and being required to watch and participate in degrading encounters allegedly orchestrated by Diddy. Disturbingly, the suit claimed these were filmed without consent and used as leverage. Within 24 hours, the case was quietly settled out of court, but the damage was done. More women came forward and more lawsuits followed.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
In March 2024, the hammer came down. Federal agents raided two of Diddy's properties, one in Los Angeles, the other in Miami, as part of an active investigation into sex trafficking, racketeering, and possession of illegal surveillance material.
And then just last month, a former employee of Combs filed a suit also in the state of New York, accusing him of sexual assault, of sexual harassment, and, quote, grooming. That former employee stated that he had worked for Combs between 2022 and 2023. Among those allegations, this former employee, a male employee, said that Combs did not compensate him for his music production work and forced him to procure and interact with sex workers, threatened him with serving alcoholic beverages laced with drugs to guests at parties at Combs' home.
Phones, hard drives, and servers were seized. Sources close to the case claimed the devices contained recordings of encounters potentially used to blackmail celebrities, influencers, and artists.
And then Combs' son, Justin Combs, was also accused of soliciting prostitutes and underage girls at his father's homes. Again, the Combs have denied any wrongdoing, but just a series of allegations that we've seen taking place.
Diddy was not home during the raids, but his sons were detained and questioned. Social media exploded with speculation. Was this the beginning of the end for P. Diddy?
The judge in the Sean Diddy Combs trial has just rather shockingly denied him bail. This, of course, coming after the news that the jury convicted him of two of the lesser charges in the government's case against him, finding him not guilty of the three biggest and most consequential charges.
On July 2nd, 2025, Diddy was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution, meaning he arranged travel for women and male escorts to engage in sexual activity across state lines in violation of the century-old Mann Act.
Well, we are still learning all the reasons why the judge has denied bail to Sean Diddy Combs pending his sentencing. That can be an indication of a number of things. Remember, the prosecution is intending to ask for jail time in this matter. Each of those charges could provide 10 years in prison. The sentencing guidelines will obviously dictate to what extent that will be followed. Those are the maximum. It is the ceiling, not the floor.
Judge Arun Subramaniam denied bail despite the partial acquittal, ruling that Diddy did not prove he posed no danger to the community as federal law requires. Prosecutors emphasized his history of domestic violence, citing evidence from the trial, including a 2016 hotel incident recorded on video where Diddy kicked and dragged Casey Ventura, with the judge calling him an extremely violent man with an extraordinarily dangerous temper. Diddy has already accrued nearly 10 months in the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center, time which will be credited towards his eventual sentence. Though he faces up to 20 years maximum, legal experts expect a sentence around 4 to 5 years based on guidelines and his violent history. Judge Subramaniam tentatively set sentencing for October 3rd, 2025, but that could shift earlier if further motions are filed. Unless bail is granted on appeal, he will remain behind bars until then.
My artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental, Beyonce. It was so monumental and so well thought out and so beautiful and soul-bearing, and we all got to see another side to you that you don't always let us see, and we appreciate that. And all us artists here, we fucking adore you. You are our light.
You ever noticed how almost every female artist has a thank you Beyonce moment at some point in their career? That ritual of praising the queen, paying homage, giving her flowers whether she's watching or not. Well, for male rappers, R&B artists and bad boy proteges, that role was played by Diddy. He was their industry Beyonce, the man you thanked to get your blessings. Not thanking him, that wasn't just bad manners, it was career suicide. But let's pause here, because that gratitude wasn't always real. Sometimes it was rehearsed, sometimes it was for survival. Artists would walk upon stage, accept their award, or do an interview and say, "Big thanks to Beyonce, she changed my life." But what they didn't say is that she also owned their name, froze their masters, and allegedly dictated who they could date, what they could post, and when they were allowed to release music. She wasn't just a singer or producer. She was the warden of a velvet prison, and everyone clapped for her. The wild part, these thank you Beyonce moments were often choreographed. She would be in the front row at award shows in her white or black dress. Artists would glance at her nervously, almost waiting for approval before they even opened their mouths. And when they finally said her name, boom, the smile, the nod, the clap. It was like watching a queen accept tribute, but behind that glitter there were chains. I've been recording this video for around 5 hours. So this is my opinion on the current ongoing PDD controversy or PDD case. I'll keep on updating whatever happens in that case. And as for my next video, it will be on the reality check show podcast. Here. Those 3 assholes. So please subscribe to my channel if you all want more deep dives like this. The like target for this video is 10 likes. And thank you for watching Filter DK. I'm gonna see you all in the next video. Peace out.